When we talk with sellers, one of the key pieces of information that we need to know are the repairs to the property. Now, we're going to do a walkthrough and an inspection, so there are things that we will notice when we visit the property, when and if we get to that point. But it still helps us in the initial negotiation phase if we understand what we're dealing with in terms of the repairs for the property. Many times the sellers don't know, so there's not a lot of information that you can get more often than not. Although some sellers know exactly what the situation is in terms of the repairs for their property, but we still need to ask. And one of the most effective ways, the easiest ways that I found to bring this subject up with the seller is simply to ask, when was the last time your unit has been changed out, your AC unit? When was the last time the roof has been changed? Have you ever had to do any work on the foundation? Are there any issues with the foundation? Are there any plumbing issues? So there are a couple of big ticket items that we always want to make sure we address. And those big ticket items include the foundation, right? Because if there are issues with the foundations, then that's going to cause a lot of necessary repairs to be made that could impact other parts of the structure. So foundation is very key. We need to know up front, have you ever had any foundation issues? Are there currently any foundation issues? Another big ticket item is going to be the roof. And instead of asking, do you have any roof problems? The way that I normally phrase that question is, when was the last time the roof was changed out? And that'll tell you pretty much everything you need to know. If the house is, 70 years old and they say, oh, well, it's never been changed out. Well, now you know the typical lifespan for a roof is 15, 20 years. This is clearly beyond that point, so we can safely say that that roof needs to be replaced, which is going to be a different cost to us than simply patching up the roof. So just by asking that one question, that's a very easy and simple way to kind of float out the question to the customer or the seller without offending them or having to ask them to do too much thinking. It's just simply asking the question, when was the last time it was changed out? Another big ticket item is going to be the HVAC, the HVAC, which is basically your heating and AC, right? So your air conditioned heating. Has that unit ever been changed out? If so, when was the last time it was changed out? If they say, well, it's never been changed out, but it seems to be working okay, then that's usually a phrase that indicates that maybe it's okay, but it probably needs to be serviced at some point. And that's totally different from, we've changed it out last year. It's a brand new unit that we just placed in, and we want to make sure that we understand the differences, so that when we start the initial negotiations again, we'll know what repairs are necessary and we can put that into our calculations for sending an offer out to the seller. So we've got the foundation, we've got the roof, we've got the HVAC, and then we also want to know about plumbing. Do you have any leaks? Have you noticed anything in the house through the wall? Or do you have any plumbing issues to speak of? Anything that you're aware of? And usually that's pretty obvious. They'll know. Well, there's some backup drainage that's happening on the outside of the house. We've called the city to come take a look at it, that sort of thing. We want to know that up front, right? Um, let's see. I think that'll probably do it. But the last question that you always want to end with is, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, for your time in answering my questions. Oh, by the way, is there anything else that I need to know? As far as repairs to the property, you've told me about the roof, the AC, you've told me about the foundation, the plumbing, all of that is fine. But is there any other repair that you know of that I should be aware of? Right? And just allow them to tell you. This gives them the opportunity to air any type of, doubts that they may have as to the status or the condition of the property. And this gives them the opportunity, of course, to let you know what their personal assessment is of the property. That's important information that we also need to know, and you can include that fairly easily in your form submission here in the repairs needed section.